Hello and welcome to another video by myself, Chris, from Sorare on the Budget. So it's been quite some time since I did a video. In that time, I think since then I've had another baby. Did I get engaged before I done the last one? That was about a year ago. So yeah, I think that was all done. Time is obviously absolute premium. I'm actually recording this on my lunch break at work. That's how dedicated I am to trying to get this going again. With yesterday's big news about the product roadmap, I just want to give my tuppence worth on where I think everything is and what's good, what's bad, what the future is for me, and my plans for the channel moving forward as well. I think it has sat dormant. I do feel guilty about that a wee bit. It took me ages to build it up to, as I said before in some of the older videos, monetizing the channel. But well, it's one of those things. It is what it is. I am going to try. The missus was speaking to me last night. She was suggesting it was set aside some time weekly so I could try and do one or two videos. So I'll see how that pans out. Can't promise anything, but I'm going to see how that pans out. And hopefully, if me and Russ can ever find time, the return of the podcast would be phenomenal. Just to see how we could get that going again. But we'll just have to see what happens in the future. If you are new to the channel, press the subscribe button below. Let me see you're interested. And if you are, I will try and get more videos done. If you're new to Sorare, oh, thank you very much, Malware Bytes, for my update on that. Thanks for that. Ruining my video. Fantastic. If you're new to the Sorare and you're seeing this product roadmap and you think, yep, I want to give it a go, you can use my link, sorarebudget.com. It'll take you to the Sorare site and you can sign up via there. So without further ado, what I'm actually going to do for this, I'm going to go step by step through the roadmap itself. First things first, man alive. This article here, I mean, I think usually they put them up on Medium and it tells you, how long it's going to take to read. When I seen it yesterday saying it was going to take 13 minutes just to go through, I was like, Jesus, I mean, seriously, this, on such a scale, this should have been a video. Like there was the one at the start, I think, was it 2022 when they switched to the cap modes, or was it the start of 2023, whatever it might have been. When we switched to the start of the cap modes and things like that, this is the type of update that needed a video, not a follow-up video where it's a live thing or what have you. They should have done some sort of slick broadcast to actually properly explain it, rather than people taking their own impressions of it, or what people think is being implied by a certain thing or what have you. I do think a video with Nicholas and the team talking about it and trying to really push it the way they did that one was so slick when they did that first one. This would have been much better with that kind of thing, in my opinion. And it is purely my opinion, and like arseholes, we've all got opinions. So running through it, obviously I've been on the platform for just shy of 3 years now. It's 22nd, I think it is. It will be 3 years for me, 2 weeks today. Since then, so much has changed. Not only in Sorare, you had the crypto boom and bust. You had, we've had real world things going on in terms of, cost of living crisis. And I think that gets overlooked a lot of times when people talk about price crashes in the market. People don't have the money to just throw in, like whereas before maybe it'd been easy to put 50 quid of the pay in, to cover, to buy something new, or 100 quid or more. Whereas now you're like, geez, my electricity bill's this, all these kind of things. So things have changed a lot. And that's obviously had a massive knock-on effect to Sorare, because cards that they were selling in the auctions, where they primarily get the revenue from, have gone from maybe being a £200 card to being a £40 card. Another example, I bought a goalkeeper right before the Premier League launched, and I paid 1,200 quid for him. Imagine that these days. And I picked him up a couple of weeks ago for 140. So huge. That's 90% almost, eh? So there's been massive changes. Things did have to change. Sustainability has always been a big thing in terms of looking at the long-term health of the platform. You can't keep paying out thresholds all the time, and if you're not getting the money in. Now, I thought maybe a reduction in the thresholds, maybe instead of it being a threshold, maybe it'd be a market credit, that you can actually then go and use on the actual market. But lo and behold, that's not been the case. So your journey for 2024, journey rewarded, more exciting competitions and rewards. So first off, splitting the two cards. I can understand why they want to do it. They want more people to buy new season cards, but they go through auctions anyway. So this will create an artificial bump in price for in-season cards, current season cards. The same way it's done for the Premier League with the competitions over the winter, and it's obviously coming back in. That bumped up the Premier League cards massively in value, and to the point where I didn't think it was worth it. But when I looked at the prices, probably was, and that meant the older Premier League cards were in a completely different bracket. When it came to prices, if you looked at one, you could maybe be £6 for a limited, but it was last season's one. But then you were 18, 20 quid for this season's one, and it was because people were wanting to use it in these competitions. So I think it's going to create one of those artificial price increases, which will have a knock-on effect to the auctions. They will be more valuable. As Russ said to me last night on the phone, when the new season cards come out, the first person to go and pick up the rare, let's just say Erling Haaland, they're going to be the only person that's going to be able to use that until there's, 2, 3, 4, 5. And even then, they're going to be at a premium. They're not going to hit the market. So it is going to create a massive, well, maybe not massive, that's maybe the wrong term to use, but it's going to create a huge bump in terms of where those prices are at. I think that's going to be the case. The classic season cards, I think you will see, I don't know if they'll drop much more than where they are. They'll probably come down a bit. But they are still usable. I see a lot of people saying that my classic season or my current season cards are going to be last season's cards or whatever are now worth nothing. It's not the case. They're still going to be used in competitions to win cards, which is what happens in likes of Challenger or Champion just now. You're not winning cash unless you're podium places. You're not winning cash. You're winning cards. So it's no different. It's just that you can only specifically use those in that competition. Another side of it that I've seen, I think it was was it Donna Sorare that posted it up? Had said, he has some older season cards that were River Plate, I think it was, and they had 12, 14% bonuses on it. But when you put them into current competitions where cards have got new season bonuses and now with collection bonuses and everything on top, that gets cannibalized. But now, if you've got cards that you have had for a while and you have worked on the XP and you built it all up, now you'll get the rewards of those because you're going to be playing against other cards that do not have the new season 5% bonus on it. So you are going to get a benefit on there. That's a positive spin on it. If you have done that, you're going to get a comeback on there. So the new competitions structure is going to be, if you're competing in the in-season cards, current season, I'm going to call them current season because I hate in-season. That's such an American term. If you're playing with current season cards, you are going to get cash prizes. If you're playing with old season cards, it's cards for the current season you're going to win, same as it is now. And those are going to be, you could then sell them, you could use them, whatever it may be. But the cash rewards for the current season cards rather than winning cards, I much prefer that because every single card that I've won, I've ended up selling because I didn't choose it. It's been thrust upon me and I've sold it and then bought something I did want. And a lot of the time now when you're picking up, a tier 4 or a tier 5 and it's 10, 15, 20 quid, sometimes it was nigh on impossible to sell it. Whereas now I'm going to be looking at it going, right, okay, well, there's 20 quid banked, there's 15 quid banked, and it's in my balance, and then I can go and buy what I want with it. And I think that's a benefit to me. I like that idea. And we'll see how it goes moving forward from there. I'm just going to continue on because that's what I've just kind of talked about with those ones with the cards. They are going to allow you to use a previous season card in these competitions. So if you're playing in limited, you could use one. If you're playing in rare, it's also one. But then if you bump up, you could play 2 in super rare and then unique. I think that's pretty decent. It gives, because the unique and super rares are really expensive anyway. And to then go and buy another batch of them is going to be expensive for folks. So I like the idea that you're able to use that. Also means if you've already got existing goalkeepers, for example, you're not going to have to go and rebuy a goalkeeper. You could use that as your classic card in that competition. I like that. That helps out quite a lot. Competition structures, simplified. Now, it goes on, talks about, obviously, like say, the divisions. How do the competition tiers? This is one, I'm going to try and zoom in on this. Can I zoom in on it? There we go. So, it's not just going to be champion and challenger anymore. It's now, there's also contenders. So champions is going to be your top 5, well, elite 5. I don't know if France overtook Portugal again. I think it's still Portugal are ahead of them, and technically they should be there, and France should be in the other one. But hey ho, champions not going to change, but that's going to be your upper echelon cards. That's where more of the rewards are going to go, cash wise. I can understand that because they're the more expensive cards to use, and they are going to be the more expensive cards to use for sure now. So bigger prizes are in there. Challenger, you've got Eredivisie, you've got MLS, you've got quite a few different other competitions in here. You've also got the Championship have gone into there, which is maybe odd, but that's where it's gone. With Challenger and Contenders, they're both going to be open all year round because you've got MLS in one and you've got K-League and J-League in the Contenders one, which is primarily where my cards all are, because mine's are basically Scottish Premier League. So I'm going to be in the Contenders competitions, and it's against the likes of Croatia, a league that I've always liked scouting. Austria, another league I've always liked scouting. You'll know that from previous videos. The second tier in Spain, another league I've always liked scouting. J-League, that was where I started. Mexico, again, I had good success with my Atlas players. So it's competitions I actually really quite like. So although it's technically the lower end of the competitions, from what I've worked out, it's based on the prize pool that they posted up for what the champions is. It's going to be about 60% of that. So realistically, you're looking at a first prize in some of these for like $3,000 in the rare competitions. And yeah, people may say, excuse me, I've just knocked my laptop and my microphone, the benefits of trying to do this on my break. But yeah, so there's going to be looking at, some serious prizes in there. What I'm going to be interested to see is how the smaller prizes, how far down do they go? Do they stop at, if there's 1,000 entries, is it just 100 places that are getting prizes? Is it more? Interested to see how that works out. But it does create a bit of a dilemma because if folk have worked, their gallery around Champion America, for example, it's all split up now. You've got the MLS in one, but then there in Contender is Mexico and Argentina and Peru and what have you. So it's changed the game completely. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out moving forward. That's going to run basically from the end of March when we go back up and have a wee look. There's division structures here as well. It kind of talks in very vague terms about it because it just says examples of, there's an example if it's 3, but then the picture has 4 and it says depends on the number of participants. And apparently looking at the frequently asked questions, this is a weekly thing at the moment. So you could start the week in Division 3 and move up to Division 2. If you lose that, you have poor week that week, you might get put back to Division 3 again. So I thought it'd be a bit more long term, but it's not. It looks like it's just going to be very short term. We'll see how that works. As it stands, I'm not terribly concerned about that at the moment. We'll wait and see how that rolls out. New scarcity rules. You're actually able to use higher cards in some of the lower competitions. So, and I think it might be limited to the number of cards that can be done with. But if you're maybe struggling for a limited card, I could put one of my rares into it, but I don't get the rare boost as such. I don't get a super rare boost. I don't have any anyway, but I think that's quite decent. Multi-entry. This wasn't really something I'd actually really noticed, but apparently in the Premier League winter competition, you were able to enter up to 3 teams in the same competitions. So you can do that now. That's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. That's going to lead to a lot more entries in the competition. But could that potentially then mean somebody could put in, like Contender, for example, could they put in a River? Well, they can. They could put a River Plate stack, a RB Salzburg stack, a Celtic stack, 3 massive stacks into these competitions. So it could be really tricky to actually pick up any big prizes unless you're lucky and you've done a lot of scouting and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But we will see when, as and when the division stuff comes out. Some new weekly competitions. Looks like midweeks are going to be they're going to have some special competitions in there as well. Probably because, a lot of the time you get to a midweek and you don't have a team to put in it. It's kind of one of those things. So I'm going to move over to the roadmap update for where it's going to be from the end of March through to August when it starts. But here's your kind of guidelines. The beat the game mode, cap 240. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. Not happy about that one. Let's table that for a second though. The March transition, we're going to have the March to August period, and then the full launch goes in August. So I'm going to switch over to here now. This should still be open. It's not, it's going to reload, but that's fine. Look at that healthy balance of 63p at the moment. Right, moving on. See, again, 14-minute read. I mean, man, like, I just had a week off work and I felt like I needed another week off work to get through all this and digest it, because it's crucial to being, if you've been immersed in this platform for as long as I have now, it's a lot of change. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of information's been changed. So it feels like, guys, this should have been done as a video, detailing it a little bit more. And it's a lot easier to watch than it is to read sometimes. And you've got to take on board as well. Do you know what? You do have a lot of dyslexic people in the world. You do have a lot of people who simply don't have time. I mean, I tried to read this on the app, which is where it was only opening up for me the first time. It was minute. You couldn't see what was on those graphics. I couldn't see who was in contenders or things like that. So video, it really should have been. How are we going to transition? So here it goes, talks about the transition from now. So they're going to be offering more cash rewards than before. They're taking inspiration from the Premier Weekly special competition, and they're going to be doing special weeklies, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to read it verbatim, guys, because you've read this. I'm just going to give you my opinion on it as I've gone. Exciting competitions, yada, yada, yada. Set gameplay update windows. So it's the same, end of February, beginning of March, and August was the two that they always said were going to be there. So the structure that's going to be going from March until August, you're going to have the Premier League competition is going to be running all the way through. I might look to get involved in that, but I'm going to need to free up some cash before I can look at doing that, like a lot of people. Then you've got your 3 competitions now. Under 23s is staying on as a standalone, I believe, from the way that it's all read, and then the cap modes. So as I said before, you're going to be allowed to use an extra card in the Premier League competition, which is good. That gives you it does help out a wee bit if you've already got some cards there. In addition to the in-season Premier League competitions, they're going to be putting up the in-season one and the classic ones for the champion, challenger, and contender from March 29th. So you're going to get, if you're looking at the European seasons, you're going to get 2-3 months worth of usage of your cards in those competitions. And this is where I was looking at for the examples of the prize pools. The champion value here of the monthly prize pool versus the contender, it's about 60%. It's about 60%. So if you were to look at this as a prize pool, total amount per game week, it says, is about 28 grand into the rare for champion, and a top prize of $5,000. So it's looking about $3,000 roughly will be, give or take, what the top prize in rare is going to be. So, and about, I think it's about 18 grand overall for that competition, which you can see is actually the same as what it's going to be for the limited champion. So let's see how that all plays out, because it might be worthwhile. Is it worth looking at some of those competitions instead of playing the rare contender? Don't know. Wait and see. Prize pools, this is your classic ones. As I say, you're going to win cards in those. And there are some boxes and things like that people are going to get as well, like you get in the Rivals ones. Whatever your thoughts on those may well be. Illustrative purposes only. Cap 240. Now, this is where I have a problem. Not so much what's going to be happening with them and them going away. I get the function of that. They're moving the cash from that over to these contender, champion, challenger competitions. Fine, I get that. That's okay. I can live with that. What I don't like is changing this from February 16th. They gave us 9 days notice of a fundamental change to the game. And this is the other one. It tells you you've got, it says here, managers can select their threshold target each game week. So from reading that, I'm hoping, I really still hope that it's misread. I didn't watch the podcast that they did or the live stream that they did. So from what folk have said, yes, you are going to be selecting whether you want to go for 270 points, whether you want to go for 340 points, or you want to go for 390 points. That to me is not ideal, because if your team smashes it and you do get this higher one, but you've only claimed for the 270, you're only going to get the 15, even though you've hit the higher. Now, they're going to be saving a lot of money from this. So why not, as a goodwill for the people who have been on the platform forever, just have this running? Because who's going to hit 390 points with a team that have averaged 240 points for the last 15 game weeks? It's extraordinarily difficult to do that. They're going to be saving a lot of money from this, because 280 is not getting you $50 anymore. 270 is getting you 15. So I don't understand why they felt the need to thrust this in with 9 days notice completely disagree with that. But I could get by that if it wasn't for the fact that you're now selecting your target. If you're selecting your target, you've got to give people a bit more notice, because you might have to rethink, well, I might just move completely out of this. So gonna have to see how that goes. That's one of my biggest bugbears of the whole thing. I don't like that they've done that, for example. The challenger competitions, as I say, these are going to be in there. They're removing the Rare Plus and Global Kickoff, things like that. They're going to move because they're changing it to these different competitions and what have you. I think that, these are it's just progression. I get that. August competition updates, things like that there. Coverage plans, K-League's been sorted out, which thank God, because I've always felt bad for the people with K-League cards because they got massively shafted. The Summer Games in Paris, they're going to look to conclude the European Tournament in Germany. That's quite funny, they had to call it that. That's quite clearly the Euros, but I guess for marketing reasons, they can't call it that. But yeah, K-League's getting covered, so excellent, happy days. Extra coverage is always good. What I say I don't like is the fact that they thrust that upon people with 9 days notice. Don't like that one little bit. It's for a lot of people, they felt that this was a kick in the stones as it was. To then do something like that, where a lot of people have played for the thresholds, and I get people have said, "Oh yeah, but they're not putting anything back in. They take it out, blah 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 blah." I've generally split it. Sometimes I've taken some money out. Sometimes I've reinvested it into players that I needed. But you're damaging your ecosystem a little bit with that. I hope it's misworded, and it's maybe it is going to be that. And what they're meaning is you can challenge yourself to get to these levels rather than you actively choosing it. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, I do think on the whole, I mean, the frequently asked questions bit is actually quite decent. It does cover off some stuff. But I don't really want to go through those. I just feel that, just looking at it in the grand scheme of things, it does seem as though the users who have had, longer term on the platform are going to feel disgruntled. There's a lot of sentiment on Twitter where people have said, they're selling up. There's a lot of people have. You can go and look at the bots. You can see the transactions that have all gone through. It's not ideal, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the new competitions. I'm looking forward to those. I think that'll be really good. I'm looking forward to the in-season ones because all my gallery is in-season. If you've only got old season cards, you're going to have a rethink, and the in-season cards are going to be more expensive. So how do you transition? Does that mean you have to dilute what you've already built and then move on? Or are you just going to play classics? That's going to be a decision for you and you alone. Threshold's not going to be an option for you, really, once we get past, once we get past August, it's gone. So you do really need to start thinking forward. Saving them up and get ready for, when the new season cards come out in August. That's the way I'm thinking of it. I'm going to have to just try and bank, any thresholds or prizes that I win to buy cards in August, because realistically, come August, on the horizon, I've got Christmas on the horizon, I've got birthdays, I've got, there's so much on the horizon at that time of year that how do you transition? Don't know. I think where's new money going to come from? Don't know. There's a few unknowns there. I get what they've done. Like I say, excited for the new competitions. Hate the way they've done it short term for users that have been around for a long time. I do kind of hope they have a rethink, or there isn't an option to select which one of those 3 brackets you're going for. If you hit 350 points, you should get the $80. If you hit 400 points, you should get the $250. How many people is that going to realistically affect? Not many. And they will be saving, because they're not going to be paying out the 50 for 280. They're only going to be paying out 15 for 270. It's going to be saving them money. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Future for me, I will inevitably try and transition my money over, and see how I get on from that. But without further ado, guys, I'm just going to move on. As I say, I'm going to try and get some more channels there. Thank you very much for watching. I will endeavour to do some more videos, and I will get back to you all with new videos as soon as I can. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and take care, guys, and I will speak to you all again soon.